everyone, my name is C-Tactics, and I took too long to make this video. That's right, 2 years after it was promised, it's finally here. My video series on Alabasta. So if you need a refresher on my previous videos in my One Piece series, here they are in the description and the cards right here. Also, I'm a partner with GamerSubs, so using the code C-Tactics will not only get you 10% off all of your orders, but it'll make sure I don't starve. Thank you so much for your support and for GamerSubs for being a fantastic partner. This arc starts off strong with the introduction of Crocodile, who stands atop a building, addressing a crowd that seems to be worshipping him. Now, this immediately reminded me of a false hero coming to save the day, but in reality, has some nefarious plans. Oda's solid art direction and character design really do play a huge role here. Crocodile's scumbag grin, lazy eyes, stitches across his face and his coat, and hook arm. All of this signals that this guy is pretty dirty and sleazy. And right from the start, we see the kind of leverage Crocodile has. He has the hearts of the people of Alabasta in his pockets, and this is crucial. Later, we learn that the current king of Alabasta, Vivi's father, Nefertari Cobra, truly has the best interests of the people at heart, but lacks their support. This juxtaposition of Crocodile's manipulation and Cobra's genuine care shows how much Crocodile rose to fame and importance by manipulating the masses, something Cobra wouldn't do. It's easy to see why the people of Alabasta would view Crocodile as their guardian deity, and this theme encapsulates the arc as a whole. Oda avoids presenting Alabasta's conflict as simply good versus evil, but rather a multifaceted struggle. The people see Crocodile as a vigilante hero and the kingdom as villains who want to bleed their country dry, when in reality, Crocodile is the false prophet, the very one throwing the country into chaos for his own gains. This complexity adds depth to the story and makes the conflict all the more engaging. And the kingdom of Alabasta, as we come to learn, is in complete turmoil, going through a really awful drought with no end in sight. People are desperate. They're starving, and the king is doing the right thing by simply waiting out the drought. And with the arrival of the dance powder substance, well, I mean, this is a political linchpin for Crocodile. This is what I found interesting, because the reason for this is because dance powder can change the weather to make it rain. However, using dance powder essentially causes mass drought if not continuously used. On top of that, it siphons water from the air in other regions, causing drought in surrounding areas. Now, One Piece itself underestimates how destructive this powder is, in my opinion, as to me, it's on the level of a weapon of mass destruction, and it doesn't feel like it's treated like that at times. So if it gets into the wrong hands, they could deploy dance powder to really just cripple other nations or the area they use it in. This does irreparable harm to the kingdom of Alabasta, its people, and the environment. To make matters worse, the king comes off as useless and stubborn because, rightfully, he will not use dance powder despite the people and other factions wanting him to. Now, I don't blame random civilians for thinking that way, as they're struggling, they don't know better. But King Cobra, he's right. They need to wait out the drought, as one day the rain will indeed return. Now, this is a big emotional play in the story, as every single person native to the kingdom is completely ravaged by the famine and drought caused by the previous use of dance powder. The rebel faction, led by Vivi's childhood friend Kaza, also comes into play here too, but behind his manly handsomeness is a person fighting and giving his all for his people. Much like, well, the people of Alabasta, he has the veil pulled over him. He wants to overtake the throne to end the suffering that he believes King Cobra has been causing, which is really interesting for his character, not knowing he is just another faction in Cobra's grand scheme, which is kind of a tragedy. Even Baroque works is under the control of Crocodile, with the dastardly Miss Saturday and other agents being a major nuisance to the Straw Hats and a deadly premonition of maybe what's to come? Finally, Tashigi and Smoker are still after Luffy and the Straw Hats, though not much has changed about them. They still want to track them down and capture them, but the only thing that they have managed to capture so far, however, is my heart, because man, Tashigi is one QT, and I'm gonna stop now because I don't want to get no down badly here. Basically, the Straw Hats are entering into a situation where all sides are converging for a climactic showdown, 2 entire sagas in the making. To me, the question going into this arc isn't, will the Straw Hats prevail and save the day? No, it's what will the ramifications of this arc have not only on the future arcs, but the grand line politically, and which factions will really be left standing tall after all is said and done. Even if things do wrap up nicely and the good guys win, which is probably going to happen, does that really matter? With there being so many factions, I'm skeptical. So let's jump into the Straw Hats' perspective on matters. This is where our arc fittingly begins, with the Straw Hats on the Going Merry. Vivi explains that Crocodile has won over the people of Alabasta and is seen as a hero there. But in reality, his plan is to take over the kingdom of Alabasta for his own nefarious goals. And while this is happening, the Going Merry steers into yet another natural phenomenon of the Grand Line, a hotspot. These are basically underground volcanoes that produce hot magma, which leaks out and causes the water to superheat, making the water explode. It's a really cool detail that makes me wonder if these hotspots will be used in later arcs to the advantage of the Straw Hats in some form. Seems like a noteworthy detail based on it being, explained to us. However, while this is occurring, Usopp and Luffy are fishing because they're hungry and they finally catch something. But their catch is not a fish, but Mr. Two Bon Clay? Initially, I thought we'd get some conflict between these two, but in a strange turn of events, the opposite occurs. The Straw Hats actually begin to befriend Mr. Two. It hits me that they don't know who Mr. Two Bon Clay is or what faction he's a part of. So they do this whole thing where Bon Clay reveals his ability of Main Main no Mi to the crew. Now, this ability allows him to take on the identity of others, even females, men, or reindeers in this case, except for Sanji, which I guess is an important note. The Straw Hats are so entertained by Mr. Two Bon Clay that when they depart, they're like, yeah, hey, we're friends now, cool. But then Vivi realizes, oh crap, that's Mr. Two Bon Clay, he's the member of Baroque Works, and they decide to wear white cloths with X's underneath them. This led to one of the most honestly iconic moments of the series and a general iconography that remains synonymous with this franchise. X marks the spot after all. Bon Clay, I gotta say it though, he's just so freaking awesome. What I've read is people seem to think he's based on Jim Carrey's character in Dumb and Dumber, which, let's be real, why did I get a sequel? At first, I thought Bon Clay would be another character sexualized in a flamboyant way and sort of made the butt of the joke, but that's not the case at all, which was a huge pleasant surprise. Bon Clay, through his sheer charisma, that's a combination of like Jim Carrey and Freddie Mercury, it just works so well not only in general, but as a One Piece character. This is when we shift perspective from the Straw Hats to the little port town of Nanohana, which is being invaded by pirates under Crocodile. One of the infamous 7 warlords of the sea comes and saves the town. The townspeople, they eat it up, clearly grateful for the pirates being dealt with swiftly. This is also when we see for the first time in this arc Nefeltari Cobra, king of Alabasta, and Vivi's father, learning about it. Even he feels gratitude for Crocodile's actions. After all, even if his plans are evil, he still did a service for the town, and I can see why the people of Alabasta and the king feel this way about this event. Not long after, the Straw Hats arrive in Nanohana to find something to eat. Since it's Luffy, he becomes a little impatient and runs into a bar, only to find his brother, Portgas D. Ace, and Smoker of the Marines causing havoc. If Smoker even gets food and drink spit in his face, which, was a little bit uncalled for, but plays up the whole straight man running into goofy misunderstanding enemy thing, which I really love. It's simple, effective, pretty cute. Luffy escapes, but not before destroying some of the bar and grabbing a bunch of meat for good measure. As Luffy runs back to the crew, they are cut short from buying provisions for the boat. The grand chase finally ends with Ace appearing on the Going Merry, revealing his relation to Luffy, and destroying a lot of Baroque Works ships for good measure. Yeah. Turns out that Ace is on a mission to capture Blackbeard, a name we've only heard a few times. Not much to say on this yet, as I have no clue what any of that means. Ace departs, but not before giving Luffy a piece of paper, promising that it will be important when they meet again. Now this clearly is setting up a future, insane full circle moment in my opinion. Ace has a D in his name after all, he's Luffy's brother after all, and most importantly, he is a part of Whitebeard's pirate crew, which is still a total mystery to me. Meanwhile, Vivi sends a message to Alubarna, the capital of Alabasta, and the home of her father, via the best chocobo ever, Karoo to warn him about the situation with Crocodile and the other factions converging, undoubtedly making his job much harder. And let me tell you, this was a pretty good introduction to the arc overall. I was pretty much already hooked by this point. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about these chapters of One Piece, and as well, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell, especially if you're a fan of One Piece, because I will be covering Alabasta every week until it is finished with. Also as well, do you guys have any theories on what may happen next in the chapters, especially if you're new? And also just give me your thoughts and opinions on what happened. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys next Monday. Bye-bye.